During perihelion on September 27, 2024, the new comet will come about as close to the Sun as the planet Mercury. As it passes its perihelion south of the ecliptic, it will not be visible from Central Europe. At the time of the perihelion passage, the alien visitor will be visible with telescopes in the evening until the end of June 2024 before it disappears behind the Sun for a while. After completing its close orbit around the Sun, the comet will re-enter our field of vision from October, when it will delight us with its radiance and will most likely be visible to the naked eye for around a month. Due to its extreme proximity to the Sun, Sachin-Chan Atlas will most likely turn into a beautiful comet with a long, split tail. The tail forms when the heat from the Sun vaporizes ice and gas from the surface of the comet. The released particles are then blown away by the solar wind, forming the characteristic curved and often brightly colored tail. At the beginning of November, the comet's apparent brightness will quickly decrease again, and it will once again only be visible with telescopes. Comets are fantastic celestial spectacles, but a lump like Sachin-Chan Atlas, which is 1 kilometer wide and hurtling directly towards Earth, could also be our undoing. If a comet of this size were to hit the Earth, it would devastate half a continent and plunge the planet into a global climate catastrophe. It can make you feel a little queasy when you consider that the comet is moving towards us at an incredible 70 kilometers per second. Fortunately, we can be pretty sure that Sachin-Chan Atlas will not hit us. The comet is set on a direct course for the Sun and will not come close to any other planet. The dramatic fate of Comet Levi Shoemaker, which collided spectacularly with Jupiter in 1994 and was crushed by the gas giant, showed us what happens when comets are attracted to planets. This event demonstrated the enormous forces that can be released when comets and planets interact. Sachin-Chan Atlas has a safe orbit that brings it a little closer to the Sun every day, and the closer it gets to the Sun, the more it begins to shine. Researchers are already predicting a brightness of -1 to -3 magnitudes, which could mean that this comet will shine as brightly as the legendary Hale-Bopp for weeks. This wonderful visitor from space will shine much brighter than many stars and the planet Venus in the night sky. In 2020, the year of Neowise, the world was gripped by the pandemic, and people were scared or bored. Neowise appeared like a heavenly messenger of hope with its impressive brightness and long tail, delighting us for weeks. Discovered on March 27, 2020, by astronomers from the Near-Earth Object Wide Field Infrared Survey Explorer, Neowise, the comet reached its closest point to the Sun on July 3, 2020. Neowise, which is around 5 kilometers in size, approached the Sun at a distance of around 44 million kilometers. A large amount of ice and minerals evaporated from NEOWISE's surface, turning the comet into a true beauty. The solar wind blew the particles into a long, luminous, and divided tail. One tail consisted of ionized gas, and the other of dust particles. Both tails offered a fascinating spectacle in clear night skies, with wonderful shimmers of color in red and green, depending on the angle from which the beautiful visitor was observed or photographed. Green or blue tones resulted most of the time, however, Neowise shone a bright white. The visibility of this comet was truly exceptional. We saw it from July 2020 in the early morning hours and in the evening low on the horizon. Neowise reached a magnitude of about 1, which is not one of the highest values but still offered a bright spectacle. As the comet moved on, it became visible at higher altitudes in July and August. Photographers and astronomy enthusiasts worldwide took advantage of this unique opportunity to capture images of the comet and its tail, and these images still inspire us today. As with all comets, this apparition was of limited duration. As Neowise moved further away from the Sun and Earth, its brightness gradually faded, and by September, it was only visible with the aid of telescopes. However, Neowise is one of the comets that do not disappear forever. Due to its elliptical orbit, it will return in around 6,800 years. But we humans who are alive today have certainly seen Neowise for the first and only time. Hale-Bopp, the fairest and brightest of them all, is a legend among comets and the brightest comet of modern times. In 1995, it appeared on the radar screens of astronomers, and it was clear as soon as it approached that this was not just any comet. Discovered on July 23, 1995, Hale-Bopp was already shining brightly when spotted, indicating a true beacon was coming to us from space. Hale-Bopp was around 15 kilometers wide and was spotted by two amateur astronomers named Alan Hale and Thomas Bopp. Even when it was far behind Jupiter, its glow was already visible. The brightness of the visitor of the century continued to increase over the course of its flight, soon becoming one of the brightest and most beautiful comets in modern astronomy. Hale-Bopp reached its closest point to the Sun on April 1, 1997, remaining at a safe distance of around 137 million kilometers. However, this did not detract from its beauty. A lot of ice sublimated from the 60-kilometer wide chunk, and its dust tail glowed fantastically in the solar wind. Hale-Bopp reached a maximum magnitude of around -1 and was visible to the naked eye for weeks in urban areas with light pollution. In rural areas, the celestial visitor could be observed for months. Hale-Bopp was hard to miss, with its tail stretching across half the night sky at times. Many people were deeply moved by this sight, and Hale-Bopp dominated the media for weeks and months after its disappearance, remaining in people's memories for a long time. Hale-Bopp will return in 2,500 years, so it's clear that we have only seen this wonderful comet once. While Sachin-Chan Atlas could reach a magnitude of -1 and the brightness of Hale-Bopp, it is much smaller. Several factors determine how bright, colorful, and clearly visible a comet becomes, including the size and reflectivity of the nucleus, as well as proximity to the Sun and Earth. On June 30, 2024, a comet will pass by that returns every 69 years. 13P Hales has already lost some of its material due to its many flybys of the Sun and will therefore probably not be quite as visible. Since we don't know many comets, we always have to expect a surprise. A new Hale-Bopp could appear.